Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024.
Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you say
Asking a
categorically,
question.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave versus the MSM. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. We're not only available on this platform, on what I call YawnTube, but where we go into more depth is in several places with what we do with our content. One is on davejanda.com. We have the free side, the public side, as well as the subscription side with extra shows, extra content, all the archives to all of our shows, including our radio show, which airs live out of the People's Republic of Ann Arbor every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern from Wham Talk 1600's studios and so-called Freedom Bunker. How do you listen to the show live? And it's free. You go to davejanda.com every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern, hit the Listen Live button. It'll take you to Wham Talk 1600 streaming service. Hit play, and you're with us. Now, if you want the podcast, that's part of our subscription service, along with our WTF geopolitical show every Wednesday, our Insider Insight show every Thursday, our Department of Advanced Research show, hosted by Nick Ruiz, our contributing editor section, all the archives to all of our shows. We hope you become part of our Freedom family. We just celebrated, the elites don't celebrate Independence Day, but those of us that they call useless eaters, like you and me, we celebrate Independence Day because it's the representation of our freedom, or what little freedoms we have left. The globalists despised July 4th. Why do you think basement Joe Biden is out there saying, I think we should curtail and limit July 4th activities until we get into a certain level of the right? Give me a break. They will do anything and everything to undermine Independence Day because it's a celebration of the useless eaters' freedoms. And the reason that they despise Independence Day is because it's contrary to what they're all about. They're all about control of all of us, and stripping us of whatever freedoms and liberties we have left. And they surely don't want a celebration about the useless eaters' freedom. We've seen the attacks on our freedom escalate over the years. I can't go into on this platform, obviously, the attack on our freedoms related to the... And now they're going to shift focus a bit and focus on the issue of climate change. That's what they're going to do to impinge our freedoms and liberties even further. I recently had Joe Bastardi as a guest. He's a good friend of ours, and He's a regular on our radio show, Operation Freedom. He's the top weather forecaster in our country. He's also an expert. He has his degree in meteorology, and he is an expert in climate change. And yeah, climate change exists, but not the way the globalists want you to believe. But this is where their next avenue of persecution for the useless eaters will be on this front, on climate change. From Peter Foster in the National Post, quote, "It won't be pleasant. Mark Carney unveils dystopian new world to combat climate crisis." Right. So Mark Carney is a bankster. He's a elitist. He's a globalist. He's a New World Order crowd person, right? He's the former governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. You can't get much higher in the bankster world. This is what Peter Foster wrote. "What Carney ultimately wants is a technocratic dictatorship justified by climate alarmism." By the way, the pet rat for the technocracy movement, and we've discussed it with Pat Woods on our website many times, who's also a regular, is China. They're a technocracy. That's what they want, and the deep state created that. And that's what they want for not just the United States, for the entire world. Article goes on. In his book, Values, Building a Better World for All, Mark Carney claims that Western society is morally rotten. Well, the globalist part of Western society are morally rotten. And that it has been corrupted by capitalism. Well, maybe crony capitalism, but not true free market capitalism. Unfortunately, the vast majority of us are exposed to crony capitalism 24/7 at this point. He goes on, which has brought about a climate emergency. Oh, okay. That threatens life on Earth. Oh. This, he claims, requires rigid controls on personal freedom. Imagine that. Industry and corporate funding. More globalists. Carney's views are important because he is UN, Globalist Syndicate Organization, UN Special Envoy on Climate Action and Finance. He is also the advisor to both British Prime Minister Boris Johnson on the next big climate conference in Glasgow, and to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Since the advent of the pandemic, Carney has been front and center in the promotion of a political agenda known as the Great Reset or the Green New Deal or Building Back Better. All are predicated on the claim that and its disruption of the global economy provides a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity not just to regulate climate, but to frame a more fair, more diverse, more inclusive, more safe, and more woke world. How special, right? Don't let a good crisis go to waste, right? Yeah, that whole thing. Carney draws inspiration from, among others, you won't find this shocking, people outside that window might, in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor, but how about this? Marx, that's where he gets his inspiration from, this Carney character, or criminal. Marx, Engels, and Lenin. But the agenda Carney promotes differs from Marxism in two different respects. First, the private sector is not to be expropriated, but made a partner in reshaping the economy and society. And just think over the past year on how they've done that. You know, whether it's Coke with their woke thing, or Delta with their Coke woke thing, or whether it's, you name it, with the imposition as it relates to, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, you can't come back to work unless, well, wait a minute. Isn't that a violation of the Nuremberg Code? Isn't that a violation of Federal Code Title 21? Yeah. First, the private sector is not to be expropriated, but made a partner in reshaping the economy and society. Second, it does not make a promise to make the lives of ordinary people, you, me, useless eaters, better, but in fact, worse. Carney's Brave New World will be one of severely constrained choice. Less flying, less meat consumption, more inconvenience, and more poverty. Doesn't that sound great? Yeah. Quote, here's what he says, quote, assets will be stranded, used gasoline-powered cars will be unsaleable, inefficient properties will be unrentable, end quote. That's what he promised in the book. That's what they're up to. But look, it's not coming out the way they planned. Why? Because even with the assistance of their ally, their tentacle, the deep state's bought-off lamestream fake media, people aren't buying it. Oh no, they're standing up. Oh, you're not going to hear this on the bought-off lamestream fake media, which includes Fox, by the way. I've told you that for over 10 years. Got a lot of heat for it, but it's true. You're not going to hear this. But listen to what happened in Switzerland. Swiss reject climate change with Zoomers and millennials leading the way. This is by Mike Shedlock. A climate change referendum in Switzerland just went down in flames, led by 18 to 34-year-old voters. Why? What? Yeah. You see, what the deep state worries about is that people are becoming de-woked. Because, and the reason they're becoming de-woked is because they value freedom and independence. After Switzerland dropped its negotiations with the EU, the country has now rejected a climate protection law in a referendum. Concretely, they rejected all three parts of the law in separate votes: on CO2, on pesticides, and on drinking water. Wow. We agree with Swiss journalist Matthew van Roer that this failure is not merely important in its own right, but symptomatic for the difficulties facing green politics in general and the deep state and the globalists. It is one thing for people to pretend they support the Green Party, especially when it is cool to do so. It's quite another to make actual sacrifices as the Swiss were asked to do. But what is particularly interesting about this referendum is that the strongest opposition came from young people. 60 to 70% of the 18 to 34-year-old voting bloc voted no in all three categories. Each country is different, but the big yet unanswered question is whether people elsewhere would agree to make personal sacrifices for the greater good. The Swift referendum tells us we should not take this for granted. And that is what scares the living daylights out of the deep state, the globalist syndicate, the New World Order, whatever we want to know. And why is that happening? Because of the independent media, because of this platform and a number of others. People are not going to the bought-off lamestream fake media to get their news, propaganda. They're getting their true news and facts and data from the independent media. I hope you will take this information, network it to anyone and everyone you know. I hope you'll join us at davejanda.com for the radio show, for our free content, for our subscription content. That's how you can support this platform. Biggest bang for the buck in all the internet. I thank you for your time. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail.